Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be telling you the story of how I built my first ever PC. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe. It's completely free and you can always unsubscribe later. The process was really complicated at first, but then eventually I realized that it's not too hard. Alright, so the main goal with my first build was to create an entry-level PC capable of gaming and streaming. I didn't want to go too crazy with the parts in case I broke it. I also wanted it to be easily upgradable, which is part of the reason why I built it myself. I wanted to be really knowledgeable of where each part goes and how everything works. I ended up going with a RYZEN 7 3700X CPU with a GeForce 1650 GTX GPU and 16 gigs of RAM. I also got a fully modular gold rated 750 watt power supply by CORSAIR. You may be asking why the wattage is so high for a PC that doesn't need it. So even though the 1650 is great and can operate everything I need it to right now, I'm most likely going to be upgrading the CPU in the coming year, and I didn't want to keep replacing the power supply. Now for the motherboard, I went with the ASUS TUF Gaming X570 Plus that comes with a pre-installed network card. Since I'm in the middle of moving, I didn't really have Wi-Fi yet, so I may or may not have set up a PC on 4G hotspot. Anyways, so I started off by taking out the motherboard and putting the CPU in. While watching a bunch of videos to learn how the hell to build a PC, I did this great thing where I read about PC building horror stories. This was where I found that there's a bunch of tiny gold pins on the bottom of AMD's CPU. And if one bends, the CPU's gone. So yeah, I think you can tell why I was nervous. Enjoy this clip of me physically shaking trying to put the CPU into the motherboard. It wasn't that bad though. It went in pretty easily. I then put the stock AMD cooler onto my CPU. The motherboard made it super easy to do this and I didn't have to screw anything off. Then came the RAM. That seemed easy enough and I just inserted them into the corresponding DIMM slots. I then added the SSD and actually screwed it onto the motherboard. After that I got out the case and added the IO shield to the back of the actual case. Then once that was all done, I started screwing the motherboard into the case. Here's how it looked. Then came the wires. Please ignore my wire management, I know it's horrible. After I plugged everything in, I wanted to check if it was working, so I connected it to the power supply and turned it on. That's when I found a yellow light next to the RAM. I thought it was a good thing and meant the RAM was actually working. Turns out, yeah, the yellow light isn't good. So remember in the beginning of the video when I said putting in the RAM seemed easy? It wasn't easy. Let's just say that. I then spent the next couple of hours searching how the hell to get rid of that yellow light. People online said to replace the RAM entirely, and others said it's probably something wrong with the CPU. I then slowly started dying inside. And that's when I saw someone online say their RAM wasn't pushed in enough. So all these tech YouTubers say that you should hear a click when you insert the RAM.
You're gonna see a little slot in the RAM. You're just gonna line up that little slot like this. Just gonna pop it in. You're just gonna give it a nice, good, solid click.
On top of the RAM stick near the ends until it clicks into place.
They make an audible click.
I heard a click, but it turns out it wasn't the right click. I decided I was gonna sit down on my chair and push that RAM in. If I had to punch it in, I was gonna punch it in until I heard a click. Whether it was a click of it breaking or anything, just another click. But then, I finally heard the click. The RAM was finally working, it was colorful and the yellow light was gone. I then added the GPU in its place. That might have been the easiest step of the whole thing, honestly. I then screwed the case closed and it was finally done. I built a PC!